I can. Are you there?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. So sometimes because it's over the computer, it may go out. So if you don't hear something I say, just let me know.
Okay.
And I'm basically so you guys can, think about this as a podcast. Think about talking a little bit slower than you might in a normal conversation, and but take your time on your answers.
Sure.
And if you mess up or if you want to say something over again, I can always go back and take out parts of your sentences or whatever you said. So don't worry about messing up.
Okay. Okay.
So how have you been?
Pretty good. We are better
Yeah.
in terms of health. Yeah. Are you?
Yes, finally. It took 6 days, but finally.
Yeah. We passed it along here in our house. I got it after Steph did on Sunday.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, my kids' school. Oh, I mean, it's been rampant in my kids' school, but my kids have both got it, and it's just been awful.
Yeah. I think that's where we got it too. The kids' school.
Yeah, dirty, dirty kids. So,
Yeah.
Stephanie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. It's nice to kind of meet you, I guess.
Yes, nice to meet you. Verbally.
Yes. And I have
the greatest voice. I apologize.
That's okay. I commented on one of John's posts. I'm going to have to come up and see what you guys are doing sometime. I think it's pretty awesome. So
now, how far away are you?
2 hours.
Okay, so not terribly far, but
no,
take a day out of it.
Yeah, I come up every once in a while to campus for meetings and stuff. So,
okay.
All right. So what I'd like for you guys to do first is just kind of introduce yourself, give some of your background, your experience, and then you guys can kind of decide how you want to start talking about the business and how it got started and all of that.
Okay. Just start whenever?
Yep, whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm John Martin. I went to IUPUI here in Indianapolis, and I graduated back in 2009 with my bachelor's degree in fitness studies. And at that time, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with that. So I decided to stay in school, and I had the opportunity to get my master's degree in exercise science in the same department. So that's what I did. I got my master's degree, and then right after that, I started work in the clinical field at St. Francis as a clinical exercise physiologist. And that's what I still do today in addition to the gym. But back when I was in college, I started personal training. I got my certification with ACSM, Certified Personal Trainer certification. And I started training at the YMCA here in Indianapolis. Started off with a few clients here and there. That way I could get my feet wet and get a good foundation of some one-on-one experience. That way I could apply it once I finished up with school. So that's kind of where I got my start back at IUPUI. 2009 and 2011 is when I finally finished up. And so I'll let Stephanie speak for herself now.
My name's Stephanie Martin. So I went to the University of Indianapolis here in Indy, UIndy. I graduated in 2010 with a bachelor's in exercise science. While I was there, I actually swam for the Greyhound swimming team. So I was a student athlete. And during my junior year of studying, I decided to go ahead and get my CPT. Being a student athlete, I was kind of limited on how many hours I could work. So I wanted to be able to work less hours, make more money, but also kind of start my career. So I got my CPT while I was working at the Baxter Y, and I started training. And it was kind of then as a trainer that I realized working with clients that most of my clients' issue, it wasn't really with the exercise portion or getting their workouts. It was really more their diet and nutrition. And I knew with the scope of practice as a personal trainer and with exercise science, I couldn't really help my clients to the utmost that I wanted to. So I decided when I graduated school, I would go on and get my master's in nutrition to work towards being a registered dietitian. So after I graduated at UIndy in 2010, I completed my exercise science, and then I went to IU Bloomington, where I did the master's program in nutrition science, and I graduated in 2013 with my master's. And then from there, I kind of started, incorporating more nutrition education with my clients, doing more nutrition-based programming, which then kind of spiraled into a larger following, a larger business. And when I was at the Y, they had already had a registered dietitian, so I wasn't able to do what I really wanted to do at that position. And that's where we kind of took that next leap of faith to kind of open up our own business and kind of do our own thing. So that's kind of where it goes into kind of talking about the business and kind of how we got started. So John and I met at the Y as we were trainers, and then we got married as trainers. And after a few years of marriage, even a kid, we met a mutual friend who owned a yoga studio, and there was an empty space next to them. And we kind of had this vision to create this kind of wellness center. And again, like I said, we were both doing personal training. I was teaching group fitness classes. I was doing nutrition education outside of the Y. I started with Facebook. It was before Instagram came around. So I kind of started like an online business, just educating people on nutrition. And then that's where we decided that we wanted to be able to kind of teach our own classes, come up with our own programming, get out of the corporate field where we had to get corporate approval, or, there was times where being in the corporate field, a class that we wanted to offer or a program we wanted to offer, we couldn't do it because it wasn't a corporate wide program. So that's kind of where we decided to take our fitness industry or take our business on to the next level and actually open a storefront on-site gym. And that's kind of where we were back in 2015, and we're still there going on 2019.
That's great. Yeah, I saw you guys recently celebrated your 4-year anniversary of your business. And so probably over the span of 4 years, you've seen numerous amount of clients. So talk about what your typical client is like when they first walk into that door.
So we have a pretty broad clientele.
Okay.
I work with some kids that are as young as 8 years old. We have some teenagers that come in that we work just on some general athletic performance. And we also have several in their 20s, 30s, 40s. We even have some in their 50s, 60s, and 70s that come in. Some of them have been with us since we trained at the Y. Some came to us because they knew that we focused more on the nutrition side of things, and that's what they know they really need work with. Others have come into us because they know that we actually lift and focus on strength and other components. And we have received some feedback from members that have come in that they've been to other gyms in the area that just focus on the cardio, and they didn't like that. They wanted to actually lift weights and get stronger. Some people come in and they like the group atmosphere, and they wanted more of that group atmosphere that we provide them. Some just like to come in and knowing that they don't have to come up with a workout on their own. We come up with it for them, and they just basically come in and listen to us, and we tell them what to do, and they burn 500 to 800 calories, and then they go home and they feel awesome. And then, those are several different type of people that come in, young people, older people, that we see on a daily basis.
So what are some of the goals that they may come in to your gym with, because often, you know, people think if I'm going to work with a personal trainer, it's because I want to lose weight, but there's probably a numerous amount of goals that these individuals are coming with, correct?
Yes. I mean, I think typically your most average goal is, most of the time they want to lose weight. That's most people's issue. Is their biggest thing is, well, I want to lose weight or get healthy, and kind of how they decide what healthy is to them. And some people, you know, it's just, they just want to stay active. They just want to be fit. A lot of it, the main is either weight loss or fat loss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where a lot of times I steer clients when we talk about their goals. Some come in and they don't really have a goal. They're like, well, I want to get in shape. And it might be, you know, going through a consult, we kind of talk about different aspects of their life. And then we kind of realize what different goals maybe they have. Maybe it's to work out. Maybe they're not working out as much, or maybe it's to lose weight or to specifically lose fat, not just weight per se, but lose fat. A lot of it is, especially the women, more muscle definition. You know, guys, a lot, it's to build strength, just improve overall health. We have some people who they come in to train for something specifically. So the athletes, you know, they're training for a specific sport or to get faster, more powerful in their movements. Some people are coming in and they might be training for a half marathon. So they're wanting to get stronger to correlate to their training. And then other people, you know, they have no idea what they can do and they're kind of a newbie. And then as they get going into it, their goals kind of change. It went from, well, I want to lose weight to I want to get stronger, or I want to be able to run a mile, or I want to be able to lift X amount of weight or add more weight to my squats or my bench or my deadlift, or, you know, that sort of thing. So the goals are kind of always evolving, but your typical goal is to lose weight, get healthy is the typical thing. And then that's where I think we kind of talk about this going into talking about goals, is helping them kind of like make those goals a little bit more specific. So what do they define as healthy? Could it be down to the blood work? I do have a lot of clients who come in from a nutritional standpoint. They want to be able to eat healthier, or to know what to eat for their body. Or if they're an athlete, how to fuel for a specific workout or training, making sure they're eating enough, meal timing. I even have some clients who they might have specific conditions, whether it be a food allergy or a sensitivity or a metabolic condition, that they're trying to fine tune their diet in order to do that more holistically. So someone's trying to, you know, lose weight in order to get their blood pressure down without having to get on medication. Or I have a new client who, she has polycystic ovarian syndrome. So she's trying to lose weight, but figuring out diet-wise, you know, how to do that naturally and healthfully with that.
So I am someone who is, with the new year coming, personally a little off of New Year's resolutions, because I feel like too often they're too vague, or they place a deadline, and once that deadline crosses, what happens next? And, you know, you guys probably know the data that of those who set resolutions, only about 8% actually achieve them. So for those of you that, those clients of yours that do actually succeed and have met their goals, what are some of the common characteristics that they've had to help them become successful?
I think there's about 3 or 4 characteristics that we really look at. Consistency is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that succeed, they're always in the gym on a regular basis, 5, 6, 7 days a week. You can always count on them being there, usually at the same time. You know they're always going to be there. Another one is that they're disciplined. Most that succeed, they've cleaned up their nutrition habits and they stick to it. If they have a day where they might slip up, you know that they're going to get right back to it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Another characteristic that we see is they prioritize and they plan. They plan ahead maybe the night before. They get workout clothes ready. They get their healthy meals ready for the next day, but they're planning, they're prioritizing. They make sure that they have 60 to 90 minutes on their calendar every single day or most days of the week for a workout. something else that they may be looking at is when they're going out of town. Those people are looking for a local gym by their hotel. And that's how you know when they really start to get it.
Mm-hmm.
They bought into the fact that changes don't happen overnight, but rather it's more of like a lifelong journey. They've made that commitment that this is the healthier life that they want to live. It's not a quick fix. They know that there's no magic blue pill, there's no yellow pill, there's no green or purple or whatever color we're on these days. It's a lifestyle modification. All these people that succeed, they understand that it's still okay to have a beer. It's still okay to have a slice of pizza every once in a while. They just don't make a habit of it. They maybe use that as a reward or something like that. These are the ones that really get it and that succeed and smash their goals.
So for those that we working in the fitness world often run into those who are working hard, but they seem to struggle still. What advice do you have for those individuals?
I think the biggest thing is, John talked about consistency, but the other is patience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I try to beat into my clients' heads is you have to be patient and you have to be consistent. I think a lot of times the hardest thing for people to understand that progress, it doesn't happen overnight. And a lot of times they throw the towel in too early before they actually start seeing results. So they're not patient long enough to actually start seeing it, and then they get inconsistent. So, maybe they're really good for 2 weeks. They're like, okay, I'm going to go all out, be really clean on my diet. I'm going to work out every day. And then they get 2 weeks in and they're like, well, I'm not really seeing that much progress. They expected to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. So then they start getting inconsistent. They start missing the gym. They fall off their nutrition. They stop tracking. They start planning. And then they just lose all progress. And then they kind of just give up. So patience and consistency is one of the biggest things. The other is that progress takes time. And it's also what way are they measuring their progress? I actually just had a text message conversation with a client earlier tonight, just reiterating in her head that the scale isn't the only determinant of progress.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to get it into our clients is to, and that's, I guess one thing I joke around is like, we're kind of more of like your typical anti-gym with that, meaning we're anti-diet, we're anti-weight loss, meaning we don't focus on just the scale. If the client says, I want to lose weight, like that's great. But if you don't lose weight, if they're getting stronger, if they're increasing more weight to their lift, if they're doing things they've never done before, if they're dropping clothes sizes, that sort of thing. Those are all ways to measure progress that the scale doesn't show. So I think the biggest thing, if with clients are getting frustrated that they're not seeing results, is maybe taking a step back and looking at the big picture of where all are they actually making progress if they're only looking at the scale. So I have clients do body fat measurements, actually body fat analysis. So we say, okay, if your weight isn't changing, are you losing inches? Are you losing body fat? Are your progress pictures changing? Do you see a physical difference in your appearance that you can't see that on the scale? So that's the biggest thing, is taking a lot of parameters when you measure your progress, just to keep you more accountable and more motivated, to where if you don't see a number on a scale, you can look at other areas to say, okay, I'm measuring progress that way.
That's great to hear, because I think it's very common for individuals to get so stuck on the number on the scale when they're ignoring the fact that they're doing exercises and movements and just everyday activities of daily living that 3 months ago was pretty impossible for them. So I think that, that's a great way to highlight to them beyond, the number, obviously. When you are having that client struggle, whether it's a specific exercise, often in my boot camps, people hate burpees, or the workout overall. What kind of things do you say? How do you help them? How do you encourage them to keep going?
So in the gym, if somebody's struggling, with an exercise or the workout itself, I just try to raise my tone of voice a little bit, put on my gym voice, and just get motivating.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them to keep pushing through it. Think about your goals, think about what you're doing there and what you're trying to accomplish. And, maybe if I see that they're lifting something stronger one day, and, maybe last week they were lifting a lot lighter, I just let them know that, today is a stronger day. You are lifting heavier. And, I just try to be more motivating and just let them know and just keep pushing them. And, I'll let Steph chime in if she's got any words of encouragement too for them.
I mean, I think mainly is, when people are like, oh, it's hard, I just remind them that it's supposed to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is easy. It's not supposed to be easy. And I think that's what a lot of people's misconception is. They feel like if they're struggling, then the workout is too hard. And I just remind them that no, like when you work out, it should be a struggle. It should be hard. It should be challenging, because if it's not challenging, then you're not doing anything to kind of push you outside your comfort zone or to change. And clients will ask me, they're like, oh, you still get sore? And I'm like, yes, you should continue to be sore. You can continue to be tired. It should be a struggle. And that's just, I think, getting them kind of in that mindset is, we kind of talked about this in our group. If they don't come from an athletic background, growing up as an athlete, you get pushed to kind of that threshold limit. So you kind of know going back, even if you're in your 30s, 40s, if you go through a really hard workout, you kind of revert back to those training days when you were an athlete being pushed by your coach. But if you don't come from that kind of athlete background, when you do get to that threshold, you kind of get into that fight or flight mode. Like, should I be struggling this hard? Maybe this isn't right. Maybe I should scale it back. And it's just encouraging them to know, like, no, it should be hard. It should be challenging. That's kind of part of the process. And there's challenging and hard as a fine line. If we see somebody struggling and, they look like they're about to puke or pass out, that's where we stop them, and we make sure they're not pushing themselves too hard, or maybe they need to get some sugar water or they need to eat. But it's just reminding them that working out is not supposed to be easy. If it was, everybody would be fit and nobody would have that problem.
Yeah.
One line that I use quite a bit in the gym is to let's step out of our comfort zone a little bit. And I don't think a lot of people know what that is, and I think they need to find what that is, and they will be once they do find what that is, they'll be able to adapt more and understand what it really feels like.
Yeah, I mean, something I've said repeatedly is if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And I actually have on in my fitness studio a quote for that I often would tell them is, hate me now, love me later. Because it is, like you said, Stephanie, it's supposed to be hard, challenging. And, you might struggle a little bit, but later on, those benefits that you see always make it worth it.
Yep.
So with your clients, I always tell my clients they have to find a why. They have to have that why, because beyond just setting a goal of losing weight or whatever, they have to have something that keeps them going. And without that, often that goal goes away. So, so for me, I always tell them it's to be there for my children and to also be an inspiration and a model for my children. What's your guys' why?
Oh man, I feel like there's so many whys. I mean, I think I'm the same. So, I think I tell my clients all the time, again, find that purpose, find that reason. Because then you have a goal. And so when you have a goal, you have that why and you have that reason. And I always say, if there's no reason, there's no purpose. And without purpose, there's no motivation. So that's where when clients are falling off the track and like, oh, I'm just not motivated. And it's like, well, you don't really have a strong enough goal. I think for me, my why, I think why I still am very focused on fitness. I'm the type that regardless of how crazy busy my schedule gets, being a mom, a business owner, I always make time for myself to work out. Because for me, I think being that trainer, that business owner, one, it's setting an example.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell clients that, being as busy as it is, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And if I can make time for it, you can make time for it. And that's kind of like my why. I want to be there I want to set an example. I want to be encouraging for them. I want to show them that it is possible to do things. And as you do things new, and it's always, you're ever learning. And I think that's, for me, my training style has kind of changed, from when I was at the Y to when we very first opened to where we are now, because I'm ever like constantly learning, constantly pushing myself to try new things. From whether it's a marathon to a triathlon to a CrossFit competition, that's kind of my why. Is I always say I never want to settle. I always want to continue to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So once I accomplish one goal, I just say, okay, now where can I go? So again, I joke around with my clients that my goal, I never step on the scale. I don't care what I weigh. I just care what's on my bar. So I kind of continue to kind of not reinvent, but push myself to just be better, to do more. So that's, I guess, my why, is to just be more of an example to my clients, to show them, what all you can do in that kind of a day, and that you can make time for it. And it's possible to achieve your goals and still live a balanced, healthy lifestyle. I think that, a lot of people, again, we go back to like where these anti-diet people is, that we don't believe in specific diets. We don't believe in restriction. We want to show our clients that you can live a healthy lifestyle by enjoying, meals with your family, meals on the holidays, but educating them on what is a healthy, balanced lifestyle. If we go out to eat, what things to kind of order, how to just live healthfully, but not be super restrictive where you do fall off the wagon. Like you said, it's the people who get in the new year and they go on these crazy, super disciplined, restrictive diets, and then they can't sustain it for, more than a month. And then they fall off the wagon and they wonder why they keep going on and off and on and off. So I think ours is just to make it a healthy lifestyle, and exercise should just be, a part of your day. It shouldn't have to feel like a task or a chore, but it should just be something that you do every day, because you just know that doing it every day is good for your body. So I'll let kind of explain what his why is.
Yeah. So, my why is going to be my son, my wife, and the, just setting a positive example in the community. I want my son, Landon, who's 5. I want him to see me running races like I do. And I want him to see me exercising and making exercise a priority on a daily basis. I think the more he sees that and the more he's around it and exposed to it, I think he'll be interested in it, and it'll be a part of his daily life, and maybe the sporting life once he gets older, and once he's already in sports now, but as he continues to be around sports, I want the example of myself to be motivating to others that come through our doors on a daily basis, by practicing what I preach and trying to look the part. I just want to show people that I'm also doing what they're doing. The other why would be, just for my wife. We live this fit life together, and that's what attracted us to each other in the beginning over 10 years ago. Obviously I want to look good for her, but I always want to be fit and healthy. I want to be that healthy man and that healthy, fit man that she met 10 years ago. And usually when a husband and wife are on the same page and they're eating the same things, it's a lot easier to support each other, and prepare meals for each other, and just live that same healthy lifestyle together, especially when you're raising a 5-year-old kid at the same time.
Yeah. I think kids definitely, they've changed my viewpoint on my healthy lifestyle. My 8-year-old has a 6-pack, so it makes you, motivates you to keep in shape. My 9-year-old has already ran 3 5Ks, and you need to keep up with them. So it's definitely a whole new challenge, puts a whole new reason to keep fit, there. So I completely agree with that. So just, because like you guys have mentioned, you obviously exercise. And I often have some, people asking me, I think they just assume we love all exercise. And there's exercises you probably don't love, but you love the results. But what is something that you do, a specific exercise or type of exercise or workout that you really do enjoy the whole time? You look forward to doing it. You feel good while you do it.
I'm definitely one of those people that I don't know if somebody asks me, what's your favorite exercise? It's hard because there's so many of them and I love them all. Because I do my training styles vary, and I think, like I said, is I like to incorporate a lot of different things. And I joke that I don't want to be good at one thing; I want to be good at a lot of things. So I incorporate a lot of different things into it. My training style right now is I focus a lot on adding a lot of weightlifting and some cross training. So I do a lot more Olympic movements. That's something I'm focusing on specifically right now. Is getting better technically on Olympic training and Olympic movements. So I do a lot of heavy compound movements, a little bit of body weight, plyos. I like to add running into it, short and long distance. But my ultimate goal is to be, just improve overall strength. But if I had to choose one, I really love leg day. Legs is one of my favorite days, and squats are one of my favorite movements. So back squat, front squats, I have fallen more to, I like front squats better than back squats. But if I had to choose at least a body movement or a body group to train, it would be legs. And I guess if I had to pick one movement, it would be squats.
Okay.
That's kind of my favorite exercise. But there's so many variations of it. It's hard to pick just one.
Yeah.
But, and I do love burpees. It's a love-hate relationship, but I do love them. So, but that's kind of me. So.
Yeah. For me, for the longest time, I was your typical gym bro. I like to bench press a lot. And here lately, over the last several years, I've been running more. But I've been kind of in a running funk. And so I've started doing back squats a lot more lately. And Steph will laugh because I never used to squat because back in high school, I got an injury. And long story short, my athletic trainer basically scared me and said that my knee injury was because I was squatting. Oh. So I never squatted, and just till recently, but I've really enjoyed them. It's very good flexibility on the ankles, the knees, the hips. Even the abs and lower back muscles become engaged just to stabilize your torso. And I think most athletes, aerobic and anaerobic athletes can benefit by adding squats on their workouts just to improve performance in their respective sports. So back squats for me right now.
So yeah, and I've noticed you've done, John, the last couple of years you've done the Indianapolis Monumental, right?
Yes. So I did 4 years of the full marathon, and this year I just did the half. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. So I did the full 2017, and then I did the half this past year too. So 4 years. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a nice Saturday morning being able to just do the half marathon this year as opposed to the full at the last 4.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to just say it's because I'm older than you that I can't. I did that was my second full, and I said no more. It's a lot on your body.
Oh, it is. It is. Mentally and physically.
Yes. Yeah. What about meals? What do you guys like? What would, and I say healthy in quotes here because I don't really like that term, because I think depending on the diet you're on, everybody has a different definition of what healthy is. So I often say nutritious, but for the sake of this question, when you guys are going to make something healthy, but you really like it, you really enjoy it, what's your guys' favorite go-to meal?
Oh, it's hard because I'd say we're both pretty big foodies at heart. We like to cook. We like to cook different things. So I don't know if we ever really have one dish we always make. We've actually just switched in the last, we're going almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. We actually switched to more of a plant-based diet. So some of our old favorite recipes, now we try to basically kind of I'm one of those that I like to take either a very unhealthy meal and just clean it up and make it healthier, or like now we try to take what were some of our old favorite, I guess your typical meat dishes, and kind of revamp them to more of a plant-based diet. I do love breakfast foods. So I guess one of my favorite things to make is like healthy versions of like pancakes or waffles, or like breakfast brunch foods.
I was gonna mention like a breakfast succotash, because you can just throw everything in the skillet.
Mm-hmm.
You can throw your different colored peppers, onions, edamame beans, chunks of sweet potatoes, and with the meat substitute, you can just use like a vegetarian sausage and just throw it all in the skillet. And then once it's all done, we like to top it off with an over easy caged-free egg, and let that egg yolk just soak into the succotash and get all that rich flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in the what we really like is we love like making different variations of like healthy tacos.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we'll do tacos a lot. But
It's
sometimes
fun.
it's hard because our son does eat meat, and he likes to laugh that he eats meat. So sometimes it's getting creative of, making him a meal and us a meal. But I do have a new air fryer that I'm looking forward to creating new recipes. So
I think it's funny that you mentioned the plant-based diet, because my husband is, while I've been pretty consistent, he's an all or none kind of guy, and right now he's a none, and he'd like to start on a more plant-based diet. So I may be reaching out for some recipes, because like you mentioned with kids, having kids, it throws a whole new kind of wrench into everything, because you have to look out for what they're eating, especially if they're active, to make sure you're getting what they need and then meet your needs as well.
yeah. And I think that's one, like we found, being an athlete, and I mean, I consider myself an athlete with just the type of training, but,
Mm-hmm.
it's one I'm a little bit more aware of, what I'm eating, because taking out meat, making sure that I'm, eating enough. And then again, I'm setting that example when, I tell clients, like mine was, we first switched to plant-based diet, and I was doing it as, all right, I'm going to do this for, 2 weeks, and then we'll just see how it goes. And then kind of just kept it going. And my body felt better. My like lifts and my strength has actually improved. So it's just one of those that, it was your typical like diet, I'm going to do temporary time, that just kind of switched more into, a lifestyle and things like that. But we just kind of educated ourselves more about, the benefits of a plant-based diet. And it's something eventually, my son's younger, that it's hard to get him onto some of those things because they're still kind of picky. Sometimes he doesn't know eating is plant-based, but we just don't tell him. So we just let him. But yeah.
So, as I mentioned, I'll go through this and kind of clean it up a little bit. I'll record an intro and then an exit kind of it. But on your end, please feel free to share to your guys' clients and everything. This is a completely free podcast. It's just out there to help educate people, help them know that they're not alone, and that, there's a place to kind of find more help and advice. I think our society makes healthy living too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel like my purpose is, just to help educate others and help them find a little healthier of a lifestyle. So for you guys, being in Indianapolis, if there is a listener that is based in Indianapolis and they would like more information on what you guys do, because I also know you do not just, you have some Facebook online options, where can they go to find out more information?
We do have a website. It's www.martinnf.com. The N stands for nutrition, the F stands for fitness. So they can visit that website, or if they go to Google and just type in Martin Fitness or Martin Nutrition, nutrition in Greenwood, it's usually going to be the first thing that pops up on Google.
Okay.
And on our website, there's a contact form. So if they're on the website and, they're looking at different programmings or they have questions, the best thing they can do is just go onto the contact form, send us an email and just, with a brief statement of maybe what they're looking for. Or, hey, I listened to a podcast and I'm curious to learn what programs you offer. Or, even if they're not in Indy and they're like, I'm looking for, a custom meal plan or a training program or something like that, they can email and then typically we'll touch base, and then we take it from there, whether it be a phone call. If they're not local, if they're local, we'll set up a time to meet with them individually, just talk about what their goals are, talk about what programs we offer to see, what kind of option we have for them. So yeah, with that, non-local clients, we do custom training programs, custom meal programs. So if it's somebody who's, they're looking for, kind of that accountability, looking for somebody to help them, we kind of go through and we ask, what their goals are. Are they training at home? Are they going to a gym? What type of gym is it? What type of equipment? What's their training schedule? And then give them a training program that they can follow, just as if it were like we were seeing them day to day, what we would have them do where we are, just kind of via distance.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, this will be probably, I would say the second or the third full week of January. It'll be coming out, and I'll give you guys a heads up. It'll be posted both on my website, and then people can find it on any podcast app that they may have. The podcast is just called Healthy Living with Lemia, so they can find that this episode specifically if they want to listen to you guys. And like I said, if they want to continue to listen to the others, that would be great. And I really, really, really appreciate you guys taking time. And especially at night, I know it's hard with a fitness business to hear early mornings and into the evenings are always taken up. So I really, really appreciate you guys taking time to do this.
Yeah.
No, well, thank you for being flexible, like in switching weeks. Last week was just.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. So thank you guys. And like I said, maybe next time I come up, I'll stop by and see how everything is going.
Yes.
Okay.
Let us know.
Because remember, everything I learned was from you.
Exactly. Exactly. I seriously listened to you guys talk. I feel like I had Stephanie in class. It's like everything that I've seen.
Yeah.
I wasn't too far from ITUI,
Yeah.
I was down the
So it's great.
Some classes at ITUI.
Well, it's just nice to see that that there's others that kind of agree with your viewpoint. That I get like one of my clients right now. She wants to try the intermittent fasting, and I tell her, okay, you do you, and then when that fails, come back to me, right? Like so.
I think I joke around. I think most of the time with my job, I feel like I'm debunking other people from doing things. I'm talking them out of doing a diet versus just teaching them healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
And that is one thing with us is, and we tell people, I'm like, we're not a quick fix. We're not some rapid weight loss thing. And that can be, some people that might be a turnoff, but ours is that you get long lasting results. And, some people, their friends will comment it like, you get to eat that on your diet plan. And it's like, yeah, because you can eat whatever you want, if, just moderation. Yep. But yeah, a lot of times it's the new one that I get intermittent fasting and keto a lot.
Yeah.
Those are the that everyone's like, I think I'm about doing keto. And I'm like, what? No. And I'm like, if you're, maybe a diabetic or you sit at home all day and don't do anything, or if you're epileptic, then maybe, but no.
Yeah. Keto coffee.
And you kind of DMs I did on Facebook about selling a product. I'm like, no.
That was the client that wants to do intermittent fast. She's like, Lemia, I've read so many articles on Facebook about it. I'm like, oh yeah. Those are also, they know what they're talking about on Facebook. You should believe them. So.
Yes. And I will say that's probably our biggest thing. I think coming from this, the professional educational background is just getting people to understand, like, I think the downside of the fitness industry is there's so many people out there who are unqualified, but there's not as much, there's no legislation, there's no, now with Instagram, I joke around that we started personal training before there ever was an Instagram. So now, anybody will, they're like, well, I have this trainer on Instagram that I pay $200 a month for. And I'm like, are they even qualified?
Yeah.
So that's, I think, one thing we always try to hone in with our business is not only do John and I, but every single one of our trainers went from college, has a degree in the field, has qualified certification. Our interns are from either IUPUI or UND or Franklin. So we're very education based,
Yes.
Unlike a lot of the gyms around us, that are just whoever wants to train can train regardless of their background. So I think that's one compliment we'll kind of go back to, that people come. And I think the big thing people see is if they do come from, one of the other gyms, one thing they do highlight on is just how, knowledgeable our trainers are. And we're kind of like, well, yeah, we did go to school for this. So,
Yeah.
but I think that's just, the one thing is we're constantly kind of fighting that, professional background.
I think that's fantastic because, yeah, if you go to LA Fitness or whatever, when I joined an LA Fitness once, and they say, oh, our trainer will give you a free personal training session, and so I was like, sure, I'm going to see what they have me do. And the guy was sitting down and he was asking me what I do, and I say, well, I'm a professor at a college, and he's like, oh, what do you teach? And I was like, kinesiology. And he said, what's that?
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I wanted to get up and walk away. So I was like, you're a personal trainer and you don't know what kinesiology is.
That's a good joke to tell.
Yeah,
exactly. But it's true. That's the scary thing. So I think it's fantastic what you guys are doing with your business. So I hope it continues to succeed. So good luck with everything. Have a fantastic new year. Your son is gorgeous, so cute. I love seeing pictures of him.
Well, he's all gone, so.
Well, he's just he's so, and you guys dress him in the cutest thing. My son wants to wear yellow shorts with a green top, and your son's, he's always so nice, cute dressed and everything. So
thank you.
So thank you guys again.
No problem.
Right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.